ain't no secrets anymore. My name's been hanging on the hook outside your door.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube Pipe community. Lewis coming at you once again. This is my second or third attempt at this video because my dog keeps barking. I have ADHD and I am easily distracted. There we go. Tonight's video is a VR to The Pipe Professor. Man, I've been a lurker on your channel for a very long time. I subscribed, I think, about a month ago. Finally got around to it. Your videos are fantastic. They're thoughtful. They're well articulated. They're entertaining. You have a vast amount of topics. Your seller is incredible. But you know what you're talking about. And I appreciate it because you're very well articulated. I know your background is in education. Please keep doing what you're doing because, damn it, it works. It works really, really well. So, I want to congratulate you on 1,000 subs. That is no small accomplishment whatsoever. I hope to get there one day. Probably won't. Not expecting to. But, what an accomplishment. That's an awesome thing. I want to, for anybody who doesn't know, Kala also has a podcast. It's the Pipe Professor podcast. And it is also fantastic. He does it with his brother. He's only got 3 out so far. Brother, I think you're averaging 1 a month, maybe. We got to get you up on that because it's a fantastic podcast as well. Good array of topics, well formatted. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So I've got nothing but kudos to you, man, and congratulations on a very, very well-deserved 1,000 subs. A little housekeeping. First off, drinking some Flipside Red IPA by Sierra Nevada. It's like an amber with just enough hops in there to bring out the bitterness, the brightness of it. Keep things interesting. It's malty in character. It's got a very, very nice mouthfeel. But a little bit of wake me up on a late evening. And I need that tonight. Let me be straight with you. So, for your VR, we want to give a shout out to 2 people. First off, someone I consider a very good friend, Unicorn Piper Ben. Ben, fantastic person, awesome to talk to. Talk to him on Voxer from time to time. Watch his videos, very clean, very straightforward, well thought out, heart of absolute gold, this guy, and entertaining. He's no holds barred, and you can tell what kind of person he is. The pipe community is filled with wonderful people, and Ben is absolutely one of them. I'm proud to call him a friend. Second person that I want to shout out is actually not that much of a pipe tobacco reviewer anymore. He used to go by a channel called In a Pinch, but now has a channel under the name of OSP Snuff. OSP Snuff. That's Open Source Project Snuff. Chris Oldham is a fantastic snuff maker. He's put out some incredible batches, and one of his latest batches, called Shoshin. Whew. It is such an elegant snuff. I use snuff at work because I can't have tobacco really in an army facility, but a tin this size is easy to keep hidden. So I've been using his snuff quite a bit. I've gone between 2 of his different blends throughout this week. It's fantastic. Chris is a very thoughtful person, eloquent, and he puts perspective on tobaccos and pipe tobaccos when he's reviewed them. A perspective that isn't extremely common. He's very, very thoughtful and eloquent in his words. So I want to give a shout out to OSP Snuff in a pinch, whatever he's going by today. Now, as for my review, I will go ahead and say that I am absolutely terrible at pipe tobacco reviews. I feel like my palate is not super well defined. I can't pick out very minor flavors very easily. It takes me a while to go through a blend and try and pick it apart to where I can actually put words to it. And oftentimes those words seem to contradict other people's, though I'm not sure they do in this case or not, because I really have tried to go into this blend without preconceived notions and watching other people's videos and reading reviews on tobaccoreviews.com or on any of the other websites. I apologize for the dogs barking. I can't help that. Anyway, tonight I am going to be smoking and reviewing HH Vintage Syrian. Excuse my absolutely atrocious handwriting. I will be smoking it in a Diebel's, Fred Diebel Benchmade pot. Look at the size of that bowl, guys. That's easily, well, hell, I have a ruler here somewhere, I think. I got a square anyway. Yeah, that bowl is a full 1 inch wide, and I'll explain to you later why I'm smoking this blend in this pipe. Let's start with the looks. Yes? Okay. HH Vintage Syrian, you open it up, we got about half and half bright leaf and dark leaf. Now, from my understanding, there's Virginias in here, a little bit of burley, I presume. I don't think there's any Perique in here, but there is, of course, Syrian Latakia, and from what I get, some dark fired Kentucky. Now, the cut is kind of special in that these ribbons vary from a moderate length to extremely, extremely small. It came in a cellophane bag. I bought a full pound of it, and the moisture content was absolutely perfect right out of the bag. It was not too dry, it was not too wet. I can't say much more than that, but that paired with the fact that the leaf is so small, it's such a small cut, you can easily overpack it. Okay, so that's something that you need to kind of look out for. Oh, that's good stuff. So H&H, the H&H line is made up specifically to promote these natural tobacco flavors. There's no heavy casings on them, no heavy toppings, and it's good at what it does. It's good at what it does. That is fantastic stuff. Now, what I'm getting on the charring light is a creaminess. That's coming from that Syrian Latakia. It is so smooth, it's buttery. A lot of English mixtures, if they're not well refined, if they're not aged, really come off as harsh, almost ashy, and you don't get that here. In fact, you don't get that from the Kentuckys either. You know, what I do get from the Kentucky isn't that vast smokiness that you would get, because you think Cyprian Latakia has this big punch. Syrian Latakia has a smoothness to it. But dark-fired Kentuckys have a distinct kind of smokiness to them. So you've got this very smooth, smoky flavor. Pardon me for a second. Smooth, smoky flavor, and this distinct smoke from the Kentucky. But that's not all I get from the Kentucky. I also get a little bit of a tang to it. And I'm not sure if there are any other Oriental leaves in here, Macedonian, Turkish, whatever. But I get a certain tang in there. And we have a certain sweetness that's associated with that Syrian Latakia that I don't get in a lot of English blends. It's more pronounced sweetness than in other cases. It's a tobacco that is very, you could smoke it all day. It's easy on the palate. It does not burn hot. It does not burn ashy. But what it does, but it's got enough complexity to keep you thinking. So if you want something you don't have to think about at all, now you don't have to think about this to enjoy it, but there's enough complexity in it where you can pick out the subtle nuances that even I have a hard time doing. So it's a fantastic blend in that regard. Now, between that sweetness, between that tanginess, and a little bit of kind of floral bitterness, what it reminds me of is this. It reminds me of this cookie shop that we have nearby. And this lady, she tries these experimental things from time to time, but she's got some cookies that she uses cinnamon in it and this smoked dark chocolate. And I'll be damned if that thing isn't so delicious. Now, this is certainly smokier. And that's why I'm smoking it out of this, because this wide bowl kind of cuts down the sugars that are burned. The way thin bowls act are kind of in essence help burn sugars in a more concentrated way. You get a sweeter experience out of that. That's why thinner bowls tend to be better for Virginia tobaccos. This wide bowl brings out a little bit more of the depth of flavor in this tobacco, but it's giving me that sweetness. It's giving me that slight dark cacao bitterness. It's giving me that smoky flavor that I look for in that cookie, and it is so fantastic. What this is absolutely not monochromatic. It doesn't fade away, and so it's got enough complexity to keep you interested, but it's also strong enough. It's got a strong enough flavor to hold up to stouter drinks. This paired with Left Hand Milk Stout would be out of this world. A sweet cappuccino would be incredible. You can go as far as straight espresso. I would probably put a little sugar in it. But it's good. My pipe doesn't keep going out. It's just force of habit. But also, You take something malty like this, malty with a little bit of sweetness. You take something with a little bit of bitterness, some tang to brighten up the palate, and it complements this extremely well. I think this would also go well with maybe not an Earl Grey, but probably something like an English breakfast tea, an Irish breakfast tea. Darjeeling, perhaps. Darjeeling would be fantastic. Oolong, maybe not a green tea. But something maybe a little bit more fermented, something along with the sweeter end. Maybe something with jasmine in it, because this has a little bit of a floral note to it as well. All in all, I think this is an incredible blend, something that's going to keep you interested. It's mature, it's very well aged, it's extremely smooth, it pairs well with so much, and frankly, it's one of my all-time favorites. It's in the top 10 tobaccos for me at this moment anyway. That's pretty much all I got for you. Again, I'm sorry if my review isn't very good. I am not very good at these things in terms of organization or developing my palate. But I hope you got something out of it. Guys, thank you again to the Pipe Professor. Sir, I appreciate what you do. Please continue doing so. I've really enjoyed your videos. To you and to everybody watching, blessings and smoke rings. Ciao.